reason number 33 to get a Nissan. The cold. Because winter isn't done with us yet. Good thing the 2026 Nissan Rogue was built to conquer all conditions. With intelligent all-wheel drive, standard heated front seats, heated steering wheel, and heated mirrors, you can leave the worst of winter out in the cold. Lease the 2026 Nissan Rogue S starting at 0.4% for up to 36 months. Includes a 0.5% loyalty rebate for qualifying Nissan customers. Until March 2nd on approved credit. Conditions apply. Details at Nissan.
Some new music from the band Tops, T-O-P-S, all caps, don't you forget it. I played this a couple of weeks ago, and this song got recommended to me in my Apple Music, and I said, I like this song, let's play it on the show. And then when I looked into the band, I said, wow, this is a Montreal band. I said, let's talk to this band. I went to their website. I looked at, their website. I saw the tour link. I said, what's on the tour link? And then I saw that they had a whole tour plan for this new album that came out a couple of months ago. I said, man, we got to talk to them, because that's gotta suck. Joining me on the line is the lovely voice you're hearing, the lead singer of Tops, Jane Penny. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Elias. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Well, more importantly, how are you doing? I can't imagine you got the new album, everything's going your way, and you got the world tour planned, and then everything gets canceled. How you coping?
I mean, it was tough. You have this one idea of what your life is going to be like for a couple months, and then you kind of have to get used to something else. And that was crazy. I mean, we were in Germany playing shows, and then Trump announced the border closures, and we basically had to run to the nearest airport and try to get back
I'm
to North America.
I'm so happy you mentioned that, because people don't like to talk about how when you do these travel bans, what you do is rapidly force people to pack up and leave, and you may actually increase the spreading of a pandemic when you force people to move quickly. Thanks for bringing that up.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Tell me about Tops. By the way, all caps, is it an acronym? Tell me about your band and your music and all that.
Well, the acronym, it's not an acronym. It's just a short name. And unlike these festival posters where there's so many names, it's just our little effort to try to, still stand out and not have it look like we're just like the end or the beginning of someone else's name.
Hey, listen, it totally stood out with me. And what else stood out for me is that, when I was reading the description, you're described as AM pop. AM meaning like CJAD 800 AM. So I was like,
there you go.
Oh my goodness, this is meant to be. Tell me about that sound. Why is it called AM pop?
Well, I think it's just a reference to the way that we've been inspired by music from the 70s and kind of softer sounds, and maybe as a traditional band that plays instruments, our setup's very much guitar, bass, drums, but not in a heavy kind of hard rock way. So that it's just kind of a way of describing the way that we're very much a band of players that like to play together, and maybe in a more like sensitive kind of way. So kind of more the type of sounds that you would hear when you go on to the other side of the dial.
We're with Jane Penny, lead singer of the band Tops, Montreal band. Jane, tell me about Montreal and why this is a city for bands to become big and, to end up, the scene that you've got in Montreal, and why that helps out so many bands.
Well, I grew up in Edmonton, and, Edmonton is a place where a lot of musicians come from because it's super cold. There's not a lot going on. So I think as a young person, you get involved in playing music. But then I came to Montreal because I was just drawn to the culture here. And when I was young, Arcade Fire was already huge. There's already this kind of idea that this is a place that will foster your dreams for music, and you can kind of do what you want to do here. And it really was that. I mean, it's very possible to live here when you don't have a lot of money, and New York is only 6 hours away. Toronto's only 6 hours away. So in that sense of like both the location and then also just like the culture here and the affordability, it all kind of comes together and makes it a lot more possible for somebody that's trying to pursue something.
You said money, you said affordability. So let's talk about the business today. where do bands make their money? I assume it's not the 0.001 cents you get from a Spotify stream, right? So how you surviving as an artist today?
I mean, you'd be surprised. The streams add up. It would be a lot bigger number if we had more of a share, obviously. But yeah, touring is the thing, really. And when the tours get canceled, I don't know. I feel like people don't necessarily realize that their ticket price, like we don't see any money when that show is canceled. So it's great if you have the money and the means to not pursue a refund, just so that you can support the promoters who are also hit really, really hard by this. But, you know, we don't get anything from that when it doesn't happen. And that's really that's what we live off of, you know, especially merch sales. At those shows, a lot of people don't think to get a T-shirt or a record or what have you, unless it's right in front of them and they've just seen you play and they're like, wow, that was sick. Like, let me pick something up. So
how are you getting by now? Do you need to change the name of the band to CERB, C-E-R-B? Like,
well, I mean, we've been lucky that, you know, in Canada, we still have these grant agencies that support musicians, and they've been really good about not withholding the money. Normally, if your shows are canceled, then you're not getting the funding. But in this case, when nobody's playing any shows, they've been pretty good about kind of readjusting and supporting, which actually, ironically, keeps me anyway out of the CERB category for now. But that's going to take us, you know, into the summer, and that will also dry up. You know, they can't pay us for playing shows that didn't happen forever. So I think we're all kind of looking towards the future and how we can like modify and evolve. And because we're a band that, like you said, you found us on Apple Music, like we're very much a product of the internet and very much have built our following online. So that's sort of what we're just going to lean into that even more than we already have.
Well, we got some good news, I guess, because when I went to your website this morning and went to the tour page to look at all the canceled dates, I see new dates. So you've got a plan for the end of the year, right? You want to go back on tour? Yeah,
we plan to tour Europe. I mean, who knows, right? But that's the plan. And I think it's important to keep planning and keep dreaming for the future. And, you know, everybody puts on a mask. Maybe it will be possible that these shows can really happen. I think everyone is getting better at figuring out how we're going to deal with this, and it doesn't look like it's going away, so we might as well try to do what we can, yeah.
Awesome. Jane, thank you for coming on the show. That's Jane Penny, lead singer of Tops. You hear her singing in the background, and the album is called I Feel Alive. You can get it where all your favorite streams are streamed. Jane, thanks so much.
Thanks, Elias. Have a good one.
All right, take care. A little bit of Tops, T-O-P-S, as I'm getting the text messages. Repeat the name of the band, T-O-P-S, that's Tops, all one word. Go stream them today. My thanks to Jane Penny.